Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining so punctually. We are now live and we're going to wait another couple of minutes to make sure some more people join. If you can hear me well, that's fantastic. If you cannot hear me well, please let me know. You can try and unmute yourself. Try and speak to me if you want to, so we can also test that and see if it works, so that you can ask questions during the session. But obviously there's also the chat and Q&A options available, which you can use if you want to. It's going to be just me during this session, so I might not be able to take care of presenting and having a look at the questions in the chat. So you're welcome to also just raise your hand and then just ask questions as we go along, so that we can discuss different topics together. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining. Do let me know if you hear me properly. If you can see what I'm screen sharing right now, you should see a PowerPoint presentation. Do feel free to raise your hand at any point in this session. I can also give you permission to unmute yourself, and you can ask questions as we go along. Would somebody like to please pop a message into the chat? Let me know if everything looks and sounds all right before we start. Who wants to do that? Or you can also try and unmute yourself. All working well for you, Keely. Thank you so much. All right, I think we should be good to start. My name is Marta. I work for the Student Futures team. We used to be called Careers, Advice team. We support students in the university with everything they need help on in regards with their careers after university, during university, if you want a part-time job, if you are thinking about getting an internship, a placement year, a volunteering opportunity happen. If you want to plan for your career in the future, we are there to help you. This is how our team looks like. We're divided into different sub-teams. That's not something you should be memorizing, but just for you to know, we work on specific topics, and we support students in different ways, but we are here to support all students, obviously for free. We are located in the hub on the ground floor, so opposite the library entrance, and we work in a hybrid way, so we will be on campus 3 days a week, and 2 days we will be working from home, but you can always find somebody in the office, so we will make sure that we cover the office as much as we can so that you can also pop in and ask us questions. We provide support with everything that you can see on the PowerPoint right now. If any of you, of course, cannot see the PowerPoint at the moment, please let me know. We support people with careers planning, developing their work experience while they're studying. If you ever get invited into to an interview, whether it's an interview for a volunteering position or for an internship opportunity or for a part-time job, or whether you just want to start working on your interview skills, we can deliver mock interviews so that you can go to your interview feeling prepared. We also support students who want to do a placement year between their second and third year at university and don't know where to start. And you can book one-to-one 30-minute sessions with us through Handshake. And we will be usually available for any questions between Monday and Friday between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. Right now, you will see if you're trying to book an appointment through Handshake, you might not find any appointments available. That's because we also organize recruitment fairs and many, many events, especially this week for Career Development Week. So we're currently very busy, but we will be back on the appointment schedule very soon. So please keep checking Handshake. We will be back in business to make sure that we can also provide you with one-to-one support as soon as we can. Because I mentioned Handshake, this is just a reminder for you to make sure you download the app, but also what I tell students to do often is to build a good profile, because you can have your profile on Handshake, as you should be treating it just like a LinkedIn profile, because employers do use Handshake a lot, and they use Handshake to get in touch with students. So they know that Handshake is a platform that is utilized by students all over the country. So this is utilized in many universities, not just Roehampton, and therefore they know every jobs that they're posting on Handshake will be seen by university students. Therefore, on Handshake, you can find employers who are actively looking to recruit students and actively looking for candidates who don't necessarily have a lot of work experience. So this is going to be a platform that is going to be fundamental to you. Whether you want to start with your first job while you're studying or first work experience opportunity, or whether you're starting to feel anxious about when you're going to graduate and how you're going to find your first job, this is going to be very, very useful. But Handshake doesn't only have job searching platform, it also has a section where you can book appointments with us so that we can support you with your career planning. And these appointments can be booked both for them to happen in person in the hub or online on Handshake. Handshake is also extremely useful for you to register two events that we are currently organizing. So, for example, as you know, Career Development Week, which is happening this week, very important week with a lot of events that we are delivering in partnership with a lot of employers or on our own, just like this session today. If you download Handshake and then go onto the events page, you will be able to see everything that is happening. And you will also be able to register so that you're sure that you're going to get a spot onto any events that are maybe very popular and that are getting booked up very, very quickly. So make sure that you do that so that you don't lose any spots on any future events happening this week. Now, back to our session. This is going to be about CVs and cover letters, and how you can make sure that you are starting to build a good CV and a good cover letter, which will support you into developing work experience while you're studying. And into the future, especially once you graduate, you want to already have that knowledge solidified in your head, and you want to already have different templates and different versions of your CV and cover letter that you can use and tailor as you will be applying for many opportunities in the future. The labor market right now is absolutely crazy and very saturated, and so it's good for students to start working on these things now and just gathering as much information as possible about employability, and the CVs and cover letters are just the building blocks of this. But there's much more that you should be learning about, and we will accompany you to make sure that you do get that information either during Career Development Week or in the future. Learning objectives of today's session: to become familiar with the Student Futures team, so myself and my colleagues, and Handshake platform. We can have a Q&A at the end if you want to know more, if you want to ask some questions. As you've seen, very important to understand where you can find us, and also that by downloading Handshake, you can book an appointment with us, get as many one-to-one sessions as you need, and just work on a one-to-one basis on your employability knowledge and career goals. We will also cover CVs and what a good CV looks like. And we will see whether we have time to do some exercises about core skills and strengths, and how you can think about those and how you can articulate them on a CV, and also on a cover letter. And we will briefly have a look at how you can structure a cover letter. Now we're going to start with an exercise. I would like people to start unmuting themselves and speak to me and answer any of the questions that I'm going to ask, but you can also pop a message in the chat if you prefer that. So we will start with a quick quiz. The first question of the quiz is: who is currently 100% happy with their current CV? Pop an answer in the chat, or feel free to raise your hand, and then I can mention your name. You can unmute yourself and just speak if you want to. Who is 100% happy with their current CV right now?
Could I speak? Is that okay?
Hi, Stacey. Yes, you can.
I think my CV is like okay, but not that good. Like I've put like my education and my work experience, but I don't think I've like done it enough, like in detailed. I feel like it's too small.
Yeah, that's a great.
So
That's a great way to let us know about what you think. Great answer, and I think a lot of people will resonate with you. Godfrey says, "Not me. Definitely needs improvement." Razak, what do you think?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think my CV there's not too much experience, and it's based on my home country, so I keep getting rejection, perhaps based on the experience from my home country. I don't know. Maybe what is required of me is to get some kind of experience here in the UK. I don't actually know. Do you get?
Excellent. What you're raising right now is something that is extremely relevant to anybody, to most students at Roehampton, but also outside of Roehampton in general. what students struggle with when it comes to CVs is, first of all, being happy about the content that you're able to add on your CV.
I'm serious. Like I saw some openings. They're crazy, honestly. Like you see some, they'll say they just want 2 day shift. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's difficult to be studying and at the same time developing work experience. So that's something that every student will struggle with. But on top of that, if you also comes from a different country, um, you you will see that employers want to see that you have engaged with a team and with colleagues in a professional setting in the UK. They like to see this. So to respond to your question, yes, it will be important for you to start to keep trying so that you can enter the labor market somehow while you study, and so that you can develop that experience in the UK, which will eventually open a door for you for any future jobs. And this could be starting even as a volunteering experience, which is very easy to get into, and then it can develop into an internship opportunity and so on. Amazing. Thank you so much. I'm gonna mute you for now, and we will just move on to the next question. Edward says, I'm fairly happy, but there could be space for some adjustments. That's always true as well. Even after 5-10 years in a job, there's always room for improvement. With the CV. So I like talking about CVs because I know there's something that is never going to be perfect anyway, and that you always want to think about, and you always want to think about what next tweaks you want to bring to it. So always see it as a work in progress, always see it as something that allows you to think about and meditate on what else can I do in the future or right now to put some better content on my CV, to put something new, something recent on my CV, but also what changes can I bring to my CV so that is worded in a way that is professional and shows how impressive I actually am? Because many times it's difficult for many people, including myself, to show our achievements on a piece of paper. Some people are just shy, or they don't think that what they're doing is impressive. But definitely, usually what I see is when a student works with a careers advisor, they are also supported into thinking about what they can add on a CV and how they can add it so that it looks effectively as good as it's supposed to be, and has that and can really show who you are and how great some of your experiences have been. Amazing. So next question. How long should a CV be? I want to see maybe right now some answers on the chat. 1 page, 2 pages, 3 pages. What do you think? You can add 1, 2, or 3. We have 1 page, 2 pages, 2 pages, 1 page, 2 pages, 2 A4 pages, 2, 3, 1 page. If you have no experience, 1 page. Depend on your experience, but it should be at least 1. With experience, just 2, 1, 2. So I think we're going towards 1 or 2. So a CV should be absolutely no longer than 2 sides of an A4 page. However, what I want to add here also is, especially if you don't have a lot of experience, I would keep it to 1 page. Just to keep in mind the fact that employers will receive incredibly high numbers of CVs per each job application, and they will have very busy schedules. So they will have sometimes even just 1 minute and no more if even less, to read each single CV, and will have to try and remember the information that they read. If you give them a CV that is 2 pages long or more, most likely they won't read it all, and they might also get confused or not be able to assimilate the important information that they want to get out of your CV, and they might not be able to remember you. If you can stay between 1 and 2 pages, if you actually have impressive experience that you want to show, then that's gonna be fine. Next question. How long does an employer read your CV for? Well, I let that slip, so it's actually, I said less than 1 minute, but sometimes it's actually 5 to 7 seconds. So you really want to make sure that all the most important information is at the top of the CV if you can. What is going to happen is, in very busy environments where job opportunities are just extremely popular, there's 200 applications or CVs being sent in, the employer or recruiter or the team that is going to take care of reading the CVs will just read a few lines at the very beginning and then decide whether they want to read more or whether they want to discard the CV altogether. So that's why in many cases they actually just take a few seconds, and that's why it's important to have a clear CV, concise, easy to read, that is easy on the eye, that is well structured, with a good balance of, emptiness and fullness on the page, everything, divided into nice paragraphs, so you can guide the eyes of the person who's going to read your CV and actually convince them that they want to read some more. On a CV, what should come first? Your work experience or your education? Another thing that you can answer on the chat, please, if you can. You can add experience or education. Experience or education. What should come first on a CV? We have education, we have work experience, work experience, work experience, work experience. Somebody's still thinking about it. I think it depends of if the education relates to what you're applying to. That's a very good point. Depends on the job. I guess whether it's relevant to the job that you're applying to. Work experience. So either. It really depends. If you have work experience that is quite relevant to the job that you're about to go for, to apply for, and if this work experience is also quite recent, I would put it at the top and then write below it, make sure that you put your educational experience where you show that you are also a student, and that you're currently studying, but you've also had this very recent experience that is just very relevant to what you're applying for, where you had to use the same skills of the job that you're applying for, or maybe it was in the same sector, you were doing very similar things. So it's really up to you. If you don't have a lot of work experience, or the work experience that you have is not really that relevant to the job description of the opportunity you're going for, I definitely wouldn't put it at the top of the CV. I would put your education first to make sure that employers know you are a university student, so they can justify the fact that you don't have a lot of work experience, because they will see first thing that you're busy studying. Thank you so much for interacting so far, and do let me know if you have any questions. Maybe we can try and do it this way, where you pop it in the chat and I can try and pick it up. In terms of CV structure, because we mentioned where the education and the work experience should go. This is something that we want to maybe have a look at with a more general overview. Usually you would have your CV, you would have your name and surname at the top of your CV, and then some contact information, and that's the personal details. So you also want to have a profile just below your email address and contact details that describes who you are, what your top skills are, and what your objective is. And that should be tailored for each and every job description that you're going for each and every opportunity that you're applying for. Under the profile section, we would go with the top skills that you can bring to that professional environment, which again should be tailored to each job description that you've wanted to apply for. So ideally, the skills that you're adding there should match what is required from the job description of the job you want to go for. Stacy, would I be allowed to email you my CV so you could give me tips? We can do that. I will share an email address with you after the session, which you can email with your CVs, and we can have a look at them and provide you with some advice. We will need to take our time because we get a lot of emails, but we will try and get back to you as soon as possible. And you can also wait a few days and see whether you can book a one-to-one appointment with us on Handshake and see whether we can do that in person with you as well. So after so to summarize, we start with personal details, name, surname, email address, profile, main skills that you can offer, and then we either have the education sector and the employment, work experience section, either one or the other, first or afterwards. Regarding the education sector, I usually see students sending me CVs where they told me, where they write down not only that they're studying at Roehampton, but they're adding information about their sixth form or high school. I wouldn't add that information anymore. That information, in my view, has become obsolete because by starting university, you have already demonstrated that you have knowledge at a specific level, that you reached a level 4 or a level 5 qualification. So that's, sixth form is already something that employers will not care about. High school, maybe if that was a particularly good high school, I still wouldn't put it there unless you had some particular achievements that you want to show about your high school education and some projects that you maybe delivered there. But I don't think that's usually the case for many students. I haven't seen any information that I would have kept on the CV. When you are instead articulating your work experience on the CV, you want to make sure that you're also adding any tasks, responsibilities, duties, and if you can add any information on the actual impact that you had in that job or in that company. And if you can also add examples with numbers, so if you can quantify the type of support that you provided to that team, that would be really excellent, but it's not always easy. We can help you with that. And then at the very end, you can add any information about interests and hobbies, 2 or 3 sentences showing your personality and life outside work or studying. So if you're taking extra courses, maybe a photography course, or if you're learning some languages, or if you're very active in sports, or you're doing anything that can show that you are somebody who's happy to learn new things, that might be a strategic way to make sure that you're adding some content on your CV that shows that you are somebody who's curious, loves to learn and develop themselves. Right, so now we're moving on to the Janice Ellery CV exercise, or what I like to call good CV, bad CV. What we're going to do is we're going to have a look at two different examples of a CV in different sections, and we will see which one is the best one and which one is not the best one. Razak, would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question? Right. So talking about your modules in a CV. I think you mean that under the education section of a CV, we are advising to choose 2 or 3 modules from your degrees and provide evidence. That's a very good question, something that I haven't covered. It just allows you to put some content on your CV. So if you are afraid that you don't have enough content on your CV, that's a good way to just take some space and give some extra information. It's also good for employers to know exactly what you're studying at the moment, because they might be thinking about ways that you can put that knowledge in practice while you're working with them. So again, if you are studying on multiple modules, you can even just choose a few modules depending on what you think your future employer might need in terms of knowledge when you are possibly starting a job with them. So have a good look at the job description and see whether anything that you're studying right now, any specific modules, are relevant to what you're going to do in that job. And if so, go and add them under the education section of your CV. Should it be listed out or written in a sentence? It should be put down into a bullet points type of way, so that is shown in a very structured way that is easy on the eye. I am a big fan of bullet points in CVs, and that's another way for employers to just be accompanied and guided through the CV. When you see bullet points, you know there's a list there, and usually it really focuses the attention there. Same bullet point for hobbies too. Yes, I would go with bullet points there as well. Again, it just makes the information much easier to just absorb. And the same would be under each work experience, each under job that you're adding on under in the work experience section. When you are listing your duties and any achievements and anything impressive that you've done while working or volunteering in a specific company, put it down as bullet points, so that it's just much easier for employers to have a look at and just memorize. Thank you. Excellent. Let's go on with the good CV versus bad CV. We have this CV here and then this CV here, and I'm gonna give you 1 minute to just take some time and read through this CV. This is not a CV in on its own, is the first initial part of a CV. So including the personal information and the personal statement. So we're taking two different CVs, but only looking at the very top sections of these two CVs. And let me know which one you think is better, right or left. Eva says the right is better. Right again. Some people are thinking about it. Take your time. Right again. Well, you are right. First of all, the CV on the left has got a strange letter type of setting, which we don't really use for a CV. We don't need to write name, column, and then go with your name and surname, or address and column, and then go with your address. So that's not something that we would do. We would also wouldn't write CV at the top. We would just name that file Janice Ellery's CV, but we don't need to write CV at the top of a CV. And more importantly, um, we wouldn't add our nationality, and also we wouldn't add our marital status. This is something that is done in other countries. In the UK, this is not considered good practice. And it might also go against you because some employers are not necessarily very, huge on ethics, and it might, put them in a position where they take a decision in a biased way, whether they realize this or not. You just want to give the information that you need to give to make sure that an employer is aware of your professionalism and your abilities, not of your personal matters. In some countries, CVs also are accompanied by a picture. We don't want to see any of that, and we don't want to risk you being not selected because you look a certain way, or because now they know you're a woman, and so on. Or these things don't happen often, but you also want to make sure that they never happen, and you want to make sure that you provide a CV that only talks about work-related information. The personal statement is not good enough. I have good teamwork and communication skills, but this person doesn't prove how these skills were developed. And I am looking for an office-based job in a good company. Says everything and nothing at the same time. It's too generic. A better option would be, I am currently seeking an opportunity in higher education. So we're mentioning at least a sector, to further develop my skills and experience. But before then, we know that the person is business management graduate and has experience in providing administrative support in educational settings. So again, this the education sector. So at least we know what the skills are, experiences, and what sector the person wants to enter. Just one comment from me. I personally wouldn't use the full address. If possible, just add the city where you live in, as well as the first part of your postcode, so that the employer knows the area you live in, but not necessarily what building, because that's not something that they necessarily need to know at this stage. So it's just a little bit of data protection. Moving on, we have the education part of a CV. What do you guys think about this? You can add a quick comment in the chat. What do you notice about this section that you like or dislike? Latest comes first, and it should be arranged. Yes. We want to see the education at Roehampton University be put at the very top. Is the most recent, most relevant information that you want to give an employer. It includes previous qualifications, a bit messy. Yes, I would I would remove GCSEs and A levels, unless you want to show an employer that you have those because they are somehow required. Then you would need to show which, if they really are looking for information about what GCSEs you completed, but otherwise I
അയച്ചു തന്നിട്ട്
wouldn't.
മറ്റേ ക്ലാസ് ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, എങ്ങനെ CV അങ്ങ് ഉണ്ടാക്കും, എങ്ങനെ അവരെ സപ്പോർട്ടിങ് ക്ലാസ് ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ. ഇന്ന് ഏതാ ക്ലാസ് ഉണ്ട്, ആ ക്ലാസ് ഒക്കെ നിങ്ങൾ പോയി അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യുന്ന പറഞ്ഞിട്ട്. അതിന് ദിവ്യ ആചാരി നിർത്തിയുണ്ട്, മറ്റേ അന്ന് എന്റെ അടുത്ത് സംസാരിച്ചില്ല. അവള് പറഞ്ഞ് എനിക്ക് ആ ക്ലാസ് അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യണമെന്നുണ്ട്, എനിക്ക് CV എടുക്കാറുണ്ടോ. ഇപ്പൊ നിനക്ക് ഞാൻ
Shajan,
അറ്റൻഡൻസ് ഇടാൻ നീ
mute
പോവെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു.
yourself,
ഉടനെ
please.
ജിസാം എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരുത്തനും സാർ എനിക്കും
Shajan.
പോണമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു.
Sorry, I think that was made by mistake. Shajan, I couldn't understand what you were saying, but you can type quickly in the chat and I will try to get back to you. It's too simple. No need for high school degree unless you think is strictly necessary because something is written in the job description where you need to show, but I've never seen that being the case. Recent academic achievement should come first. Yes. Something that hasn't been mentioned right now is the font that has been used as well. This is not a professional font. I don't know the name of this font, but you want to go with the Times New Roman or Calibri or Arial, but this looks a bit too cartoonish. And this is how you would want to instead rearrange this section. So you can see we have university first, and then we do have 8 levels and GCSEs, but here we're just mentioning it very quickly, and that's a good way of doing it. I am guessing also if you want to show that you have some knowledge of history, geography, psychology, maybe this is something that you want to show the employer you have knowledge of, you have some background of, because it is mentioned in the job description, and maybe it's not something that you're taking care during your current studies just now. Then go ahead and add your previous A levels and GCSEs, but you don't need to write that much about it. Rather, you want to spend a little bit more time adding some more information about your modules, and any achievements that you had at university, any projects you completed that you're proud of, or anything that is really relevant to the job description, and that shows that employer that you can complete projects within deadlines and collaborate with a team of peers, and maybe even in collaboration with your teachers and so on. So that's all good stuff that you can work on to add more content on the education section of your CV. If you're currently undergoing an academic program, is it okay to include it in your CV? As in view, yes, you can do that. And also any certifications that you're working towards, any extra curriculum classes that you're attending, anything that you're learning that you think is quite good or relevant to the job, add it there. And even if you haven't yet received a qualification or a certificate, you can just add a note to say, I don't know, 2023 to present, currently attending this specific course, certification due in January 2025. And now we have a example of the work experience section. I'm gonna go through this very quickly because we're running out of time and there's a lot that we want to have a look at. But this one is a bad example of a CV, because what I noticed straight away is the font is not the same throughout, and the style is not the same throughout. So we can see something is in bold, other things are not in bold. Something has been typed in a specific format, and then we have something else typed in a different format, and then something is in small letters and other things are written down in capital letters. And then we have skills and under skills we also have a list where the bullet points are just not the same type of bullet points. You can tell also that the punctuation is a bit messed up. So, for example, languages has a dot, like instead of a column after that, but then you have swimming, a space and a column. A space should never be between the word and then the column. That is something that I'm seeing a lot on CBs from students, and is just not it. It's not just is a very very you know easy fixable thing that you should be thinking about, such as even just like making sure there are no typos, but also you want to make sure that everything is divided into paragraphs in a very tidy way so that it's easier for people to go through all of this information and understand it. So this would be a much more consistent way of putting all of this information together. Work experience as a title is all in capital letter, everything else is not, and then you are repeating the same format for each different type of work experience. The bullet points are the same type of bullet points. You have the job titles on the right, the time frame on the left. This can also be switched. You could have the job title on the left and the time frame on the right. We don't care as long as the same format is repeated and it makes sense and you can go through information easily and quickly and you know where each paragraph starts and ends. Then we have a good CV there, and obviously the style and the format is consistent throughout. And we also have a good explanation of different tasks that were performed in each job. Right, so we won't have much time to go through the key skills and what transferable skills you are gaining through your degree, but this is something that you want to definitely start thinking about and even just develop with the help of us, careers advisors. But you are right now developing a lot of transferable skills that are going to be useful for your life in the future. And if you don't have a lot of work experience currently developed, you can focus on these skills and you can add all of this information on a CV. Don't worry, we're going to support you into doing this on a one-to-one basis, but I can also ask for this PowerPoint to be shared with you so that you can start really thinking about these things and whether you want to add it onto your CV. But a good, example of a skills section is here, where you are showing anything that you have developed in terms of skills that maybe you haven't developed in a work-related environment because you didn't have the chance to, but being a student, you did manage to develop these skills because, for example, you were nominated as a team leader for a project group, and you were taking care of a series of responsibilities, and you had to take care of deadlines, making sure everything was prepared in time, and maybe teamwork skills, making sure that people were delivering together with you on a specific common goal or project, and so on. So we have more examples here. Any additional languages that you've learned or that you speak, any numeracy skills that you have applied in your current studies, and again, as I mentioned, any interests that would show that you're somebody who likes to learn and improve themselves. This style of skills that you want to add onto your CV is a very extended type of skills section. It doesn't have to contain so much detail, but if you are somebody who doesn't have a lot of work experience, then this might be a style that you want to go for, where you're explaining to employers as, yes, I maybe just had a volunteering opportunity in the past, or didn't manage to have any relevant jobs, but these are the skills that I have, and I'm going to prove to you how and where and when I developed those skills. So that's what you want to do in this case. Now we're going to quickly pass on to writing an effective cover letter. Before we do that, can anybody tell me if they have written a cover letter before, and what they think of it? Would somebody like to unmute themselves and just talk about it very briefly? Or you can add a chat, a message into the chat.
If I may, I think a cover letter includes like the explanation or the reasoning behind why you want this role, and it gives you like a brief summary of your academic background, which is usually missing from the CVs.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much. A cover letter is actually an opportunity for you to explain yourself better, because the CV follows a format that sometimes doesn't allow you, for example, to explain why you have maybe some gaps in education or some time gaps in work experience, and anything that you would like to prove and show from the cover letter, you can do so from the CV. You can do so in a cover letter. But a cover letter also gives you a way for you to expand on any points that you have on your CV and convince the employer that you actually have those skills that you mentioned in the CV, and you might want to give examples of how you developed those skills that you're mentioning in the CV, and you want to bring onto a cover letter maybe some even practical examples and stories about how you dealt with an issue, how you solved a problem in a professional or university setting, and how that allowed you to develop specific skills. This really proves the employer that you do have those skills that you're claiming you have on the CV. Because anybody could say, I've got good teamwork or communication skills, but actually, anybody could say that, but employers want to really know about specific episodes that allow you to develop that, or specific experiences, especially in a professional setting or in volunteering, that clearly demonstrate that you have that specific skill set. So you can do all of this in a cover letter, but also in a cover letter you can show the employer that you know that company, you've researched about that company, and it's a way for you to tell employers why you're applying for that job, which is something that you don't really have space to put on a CV, and is not really appropriate to put that information in that articulate, expanded way on a CV. So the cover letter will give you the opportunity to do that. If my CV is one page, in general, how long should my cover letter be? I would say always one page, max 2 pages, but we go back to incurring in the same risk that employers won't be able to really read through it all. So if you can stick to one page. Just a little bit about the structure of a cover letter. You want to use a letter format, and you want to make sure that it has your contact details, a date, the addressee by name and title line, including any reference codes, body of the letter, and and a lot of little other things that we won't be able to talk about. But just so you know, there is a lot of information online with a lot of very useful templates that you can follow. Let me see if I can actually send you some links. Because we're going towards the end of the session. What I will do is I will send you some links about the cover letter via email, and I will make sure that you have what you need to be able to start putting together your first cover letter. But I would definitely use a template to give you an idea of how a cover letter looks like. In the meantime, I will ask you to please use this QR code. Just take a picture of it. It's going to take you to a survey that I would like for you to complete. I'm also going to add this onto the chat. So you can take 1 minute to do it now. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to copy and paste onto the chat some notes that we have put together regarding the cover letter. I would advise you to copy and paste it into a Word file if you can, or to take a screenshot of it so that you can really take some information about this and meditate on it. But this would be basically a good structure of a cover letter. Apologies about the list number being messed up. It somehow happens when I copy and paste. Take some time to do this and also to provide us with some feedback on this session. Sorry, it was a bit rushed, but I guess I will keep it in mind to put less content on it for next time. Do remember to wait a couple of days and then look on Handshake under the careers section to see if we have some appointments available. We're planning to put many, many more appointments there so that you can start visiting us in person in the hub or on Handshake. You can also take a note of this email address that you see right here, and you can send us your CV if you want us to have a look at it, and send you back an email with some initial advice on how you can work on your CV. Please be patient because we are always receiving a lot of emails, so we will respond to you in due time, but it might not be on the same day, especially this week that we're very busy with different events for Career Development Week. Career Development Week is this week. This is just one of the many sessions that are happening. Make sure that you use Handshake as well as the Nest portal to just have a good overview of everything that is happening. We will be delivering similar sessions to today's one during Career Development Week, and especially on Friday. We're going to have a session on LinkedIn, a session on the undergraduate placement year, and on other topics as well. So just get in touch with us. Let us know if you struggle to find out how to register, but if you manage to get here, you should be able to do the same for the next sessions. Make the most of this week, and this is something that is also for you that we've been working on that will be useful to you on your second year and on your final year of your undergraduate studies, and also just after you graduate. Hi, Salman.
Miss, sorry to interrupt. Where can we find the slide and the recording to watch back later?
We will find a way to reach all of you, whether through the registration that this Teams call is going to show us. We're going to have the data of who joined the session, but it might be that we're also able to reach you through your Moodle page. So you will be receiving an email notification, and then you will be able to see this PowerPoint. But again, you can also just email this email address, careers@roehampton.ac.uk. We can potentially send this over to you, or propose to have a career session with you so that we can go through all of this much more in detail.
All right, thank you. Got it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience. Apologies, this was a bit rushed, but hopefully you got some basics about CVs, especially, and cover letters. And do visit the Prospects website as well. This is called Prospects. It's a website that is going to be your Bible for any career-related topics. Do double check their cover letter section and CV section. You will find some amazing CVs and cover letters. Yes, is the careers@roehampton.ac.uk. Please feel free to email your CVs and cover letters here. Bye for now. Have a good rest of the day.
hosting an event to kind of help.
It's recorded. Fab. Okay.